Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Waking back to the chaos. I am Tanari, for those who are new. I do vlogs on here. I'm going to start doing some more other videos soon, now that I've actually figured out how to move data across devices. I also stream on Twitch. Video games. So, I know this one's late. I messed up. Mental kerfuffle. So, let's see, how'd last week go? Right. Kid had his birthday. He had a blast. He got all the toys he wanted. I am not kidding. They spent 3 hours having a Bakugan battle. I apologize for the lighting. I'm not fixing that right now. It's early. I am able to hear out of this ear again consistently. It's not coming and going anymore. It's a little muted, but it's not coming and going. So the ear infection is going away. I feel so much better. Holy snot. But he had a great birthday, big old cake. They made friends with one of the kids. Their grandparents lives across the road. Made friends with a little girl through the fence, just having a ball. And, yeah, so the house is staying picked up. Things are going fairly well. I don't feel like I'm dying anymore. I'm impressed it's still picked up, by the way. That's a thing. And I have taken to home cooking again, like scratch cooking, which can be a time sink, bit of a spoon sink, but it also builds up spoons. It's an easy win pretty often. Comment below, would you guys like to start seeing bits of that in these vlogs? Because the kitchen is filmable now. Like, I do actually have to do the canning video. I'm sorry, I screwed up that footage so hard with the storage problem. But I'm going to redo it with better sound quality because, yeah, my kitchen sucks sound-wise. And then I forgot to upload because I made... What did I make that night? Something pasta. I was dead. I felt like hell. I was worn out. I was not doing great. And I left 2 plastic plates on the stove. I don't know if my gut turned the stove on or what, but basically we had a small house fire on the stove. And like everything's okay. It got out of hand for about 3 seconds. Mentally I wasn't doing great. I tried to fill up a cup of water to put out a fire. The 6-year-old came running to tell us it's on fire. It's on fire. So we ran out there. And I tried using a cup of water to put it out, and my husband's like, no, give me the hose. And, because there's a hose on the back of the sink. He put it out. In the process of putting it out, it did ignite the greasy filter above the, it wasn't really super greasy, but it was above the stove, the filter to the exhaust fan. And it got put out. We aired out the house. Took care of feeding people and left it for the night because I wasn't doing great. Like, I started exhausted. This did not help. And lit a candle and kept the house aired out until the fumes from burning plastic went away. And then next morning, I go out there and I can smell smoke. Not the plastic smell, which is what we were actually worried about because fumes, but it smells smoky. So I'm like, okay, how do I fix this? Because it was only in the kitchen. That's where the smell was in the actual kitchen, not even the dining area. There is no upholstery or carpeting anywhere in those rooms. So I skipped anything that said, here's how you take care of fabric. I'm just like, screw it, I'll wash the 2-foot wide curtain valance in the kitchen. That was the only fabric in that room. And we'll go with everything else. So I went and picked up some Febreze and some vinegar and came home to clean it up, and 99.9% of the smell was actually the stove I hadn't cleaned up yet. So I cleaned the stove really thoroughly. Took out the filter that had caught because Dee was afraid that we actually had to replace the entire exhaust fan. No, it was just the filter. Like, the inside of that exhaust fan looks brand frickin' new. We just have to replace the filter. So we lucked out big time there. If we had been a couple of seconds slower, we would have had to call 911 in the fire department. Like, that's... We didn't have a fire extinguisher in the house, we figured this out after the fact. Like, oh shit, we probably should have one of those. We do now. 2 of them, actually. But mentally, I wasn't great after that. I went to the store to pick up some groceries, and I had some fun little weird flash where I called it a waking nightmare. That's apparently not what it's called. But where I had a waking nightmare where the fire got out of hand and Dee was not okay. And he was fine. Like, there was no reason for this problem, but I was having nightmares for 3 days. And just overall not doing great. I think the ear infection was part of the problem. But my mind was not okay. So that's why I forgot to upload. And not a big deal. I'm okay now. We're all okay. It was just not a great few days. But yeah, I got the smell out of my kitchen. Like, it smells fine now. Febreze is a thing that's going to be around regularly, because that took care of a lot more than the smoke smell. Like, look, parts of my house don't smell good. I've got a bunch of boys in this house. 2 of them are teenagers. 2, not the same 2, but 2 of them are not great with the toilet aiming. So yeah, my house does not smell great. It does now. Febreze is a beautiful thing. And then Saturday we had game. We had a hero party for the kid that went and got us before the house burnt down. Baked him a cake and pizza. And then we had a vampire game. I think we are out for 2 weeks. We are not doing vampire for the next 2 weeks. But we played vampire Saturday, and that got fun. I think my character is finally settling into her place, which is not what I planned. But when you go into a season with minimal or very vague goals, the storyteller uses that, and someday I will learn. But when I rolled Evelyn, I couldn't brain. Like, I was just like, I can't handle this. I want to play, but I can't do this. I need to get a character out. So it's vague, you know? And I was working with Nerdy when we rolled these, because our characters are siblings. Like, we had this bright idea for Gangrel twins, and it's been an adventure. And it's been very entertaining. I hope she's having as much fun with that as I am, but it's been an adventure. But our characters have shifted into very different directions. Like, this year, the coterie is going to separate of its own will. Just because certain goals have happened, certain goals haven't happened, certain relationships have changed, and I don't think the coterie is going to be one that the storyteller has to separate out after. This is going to be just how things mesh, which is actually quite entertaining. And we're out for 2 weeks, then we come back for the last few weeks of the season. I think it's like 5 or 6 weeks. And then this season's over, and then the week after that, I start storytelling. I am storytelling Mutants and Masterminds. I've never done this before. And it is going to be on the channel. I've already got Digital Nomad's sheet. I've got Nerdy's sheet. I need Ash Caravan's sheet and Fairy's sheet, and I'll bother them for those later. But it's going to be a thing. And obviously all of these people have jobs, so they're not, well, they have lives, okay? Jobs or other issues. Digital Nomad just frickin' moved. Like, things come up, alright? Not everyone's going to be there every week. That's just life. But behind the scenes, my children are helping me with the story and the NPCs. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I've already got a basic storyline out, and everyone's going to enjoy this. Like, everybody that's playing loves interacting with my kids. They're going to like this. It is right up Ash Caravan's alley. Oh my god. Look, he is the wild card. The only thing predictable about that guy in a RPG game is that he's going to do the psychotic, whatever the hell he wants. Look, it's real life. Not the point. We're talking about the guy that sent me Pixie Sticks by the pound, okay? Unpredictable's just his thing. But yeah, I think that's where the game's at. I stream Tuesday. I have a controller now, and I am loving this. Okay, it took me forever to figure out how to get this thing to work. Not because it's difficult. This is a freaking plug and play, okay? But because I was not... It was Christmas time, okay? By the time I got to bed every night, I was so brain dead. So brain dead. I couldn't figure it out. Well, I figured it out, and this is... The nostalgia is here, okay? This is the nostalgia. Playing... I've been a gamer. I haven't been a gamer like that for most of my life, but I have been playing video games my entire life, okay? We had the old NES when I was a kid, tucked out in the garage because Dad helped repair some arcade games and realized we really enjoyed those. So he bought us an NES one year. This was with my brother's diagnosis and all that. That's just, yeah. He bought us an NES. The old Nintendo, like the original Nintendo system. We played that thing. It was hooked up to an old school TV in the garage, and we loved that thing. You could only get 2 players. Like, this is how we learned to take turns, okay? It was with the NES. And then after the NES, we moved on to a Sega, because eventually the NES was toast, okay? It did... in time, and it was over a decade later, I think, it was just dead. It was toast. We couldn't fix it anymore. It was boned. Then he got us a Sega system. That sucker survived until, I want to say almost until I moved out. And I only know that because it was in my bedroom when I was a teenager. We had the Sega, and then from the Sega, they went to, I believe from the Sega, it was a PlayStation. But I could be wrong. I know over the years we had a PlayStation, we had a GameCube, and the biggie when I was a teenager was the N64. Now, by this time, we had multiple systems in the house because my brothers loved video games, and the one brother, video games was how he entertained himself in the house. He wasn't big on reading. He could read, and once he found a book he enjoyed, he got eaten by it, but it wasn't really his thing. Reading was not his favorite thing in the world. That was me. But he loved video games. And, so Dad would, for his birthday or Christmas or something, go, okay, you guys like playing video games together. He wants this newer video game, so let's get this as a gift. So we wound up with, I want to say 4 or 5 game systems in the house at some point. Just because we weren't that hard on them after the first one. The NES we were hard on. Okay, we buggered that sucker up. But he bought that thing when I was 9, maybe 10, maybe. So yeah, we had that a long time before it just finally was dead. And we were hard on it. But at one point the Sega was in my bedroom. The 64 was in my brother's room, the brother in the wheelchair, just because he had the big TV, and we wanted to play video games while Dad was watching TV, or Mom was watching the news. So there was a PlayStation out on the big TV, because that had the games we really wanted on the big screen, and we would play with Dad sometimes. But the 64 was in my brother's room, because we adored Mario Kart and Star Fox. And he had the biggest TV in the house besides the one in the living room, and we wanted to play while Mom and Dad were watching TV. So he had the 64, and that was the one I remember using the most, was the 64. We loved the 64. The Sega was in my bedroom. PlayStation was in the living room. I want to say the GameCube wound up in the other brother's bedroom. But I honestly don't remember. And we were adults by now, okay? We lived at home several years after graduating. I was there until I got married in my 20s. My brothers were both there until... one brother's still there, but the other one didn't move out until he was 30-something, because we hung around and helped with my brother, the one who's in a wheelchair and has medical issues. Like, we were helping with him. I was actually his CNA, his medical aid, until I got married. But yeah, we had a lot of video games. And I didn't play that many of them. Like, I had my favorites on each system. But the 64 was the one we could all four play together and have fun. So this feels very much like a 64 controller to me, and I'm loving this. So Tuesday, I'm going to test that out, probably with Fall Guys. Tuesday, tomorrow. I've been using it with Dreamlight Valley so far, just because I was playing Dreamlight Valley, and I was like, hey, let's see if that works. It does. And I am enjoying it, like learning how to steer with two. I'm used to steering in game by controlling the camera with my mouse and my movement with my arrow keys. So doing that with two joysticks is a learning curve. It's part of why I kept doing it with Dreamlight Valley, because there's no real risk involved with Dreamlight Valley. You're not going to screw something up that terribly. But I'm probably going to give that a shot with Fall Guys, because Fall Guys is the one I bought the controller for. Fall Guys is not easy to do with the keyboard and mouse. Not for me. And I really enjoy Fall Guys. It does get frustrating eventually, but I actually enjoy it a lot. And I think, yeah, that's where stream is at. As far as videos go, I know I keep telling you this. I am going to get to sewing. I'm starting to have second thoughts about Poison Ivy. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is I can't find a pattern I'm comfortable with, and this is a lot of satin. And I don't want to screw it up. Basically, it's supposed to be a form-fitting dress out of satin, and I'm having a really hard time visualizing how to make that happen without really screwing something up. So I am probably going to start with something simpler. I am toying with the idea of videoing something for Valentine's Day for my husband. Don't hold your breath on that yet. But I am going to video doing Guru 2's birthday present. The tent thing outside. And a canning video is going to get up. I have to. So the last video echoed horribly. Horrifically. Because that's what my kitchen does. But I use a Snowball for videos and for stream because it's the best mic I've got. Also because when I got that, the only wireless headphones I had were not my earbuds. They were something I got from my husband, and the mic on it was horrible. So, but it worked for headphones, and I bought it for my video, for the Vampire game. Because I still had to parent while I was on Vampire game, and being able to get up and move without taking the headphones off was huge. Because then I could get up and do what I need to do, and I can still hear what's going on. But I tested, I have 3 sets of wireless earbuds now. Wireless headset earbuds, and I tested all 3 mics, and the Snowball, and the Black Bay. Is that what these are called? Back Bay, sorry. The Back Bay headset is not much worse than my Snowball. Like, at all. And it is leaps and bounds above the microphone on the cell phone, which is what it recorded with last time, because that Snowball ain't leaving my office. And I'm going to try it with these this time, and that should get me much better audio quality, voice quality, which was good when you're explaining the different kinds of canning equipment. And there's children yelling in the background. So yeah, I will get that filmed hopefully this week, now that I have my balance and trust myself to use my kitchen again. And I think that's most of the updates. Yeah. Like, I'm going to start getting back in gear soon. I know I promised you guys I would do a different video for the intro and stuff like that. I'm getting there. I'm just not doing great so far this year, and I probably should have expected that when I got sick at the end of December, but my brain wasn't on. It was sick. So anyway, at that, that's where we're at. I am going to work on new videos. And I will see you guys next week. Enjoy the chaos.